Good evening, bon vespre. Welcome to the headquarters of the Col·legi d'Arquitectes de Catalunya, the House of Architects and Architecture here in Barcelona. Benvinguts, com sempre, us donem la benvinguda a la Casa dels Arquitectes i l'Arquitectura de Barcelona. We are especially pleased to host Dan Lewis, Professor Heng Qiang, and Oscar Carracedo, who will talk about the Designing Resilience Program in Asia. Un programa que es va iniciar amb l'objectiu de promoure i fomentar un debat de fons sobre les idees i propostes relatives a la resiliència de les ciutats d'Àsia, en relació a la vulnerabilitat regional en el medi ambient i el creixement exponencial de les seves ciutats. L'exposició que avui inaugurem mostra els resultats del concurs DRIA 2015. Té lloc en el marc de la Barcelona Resilience Week. Vull agrair la presència de tots els que ens acompanyeu aquesta tarda, and my recognition to all the experts coming from local and international institutions who participate in the Barcelona Resilience Week, a unique global platform for all cities and companies, working to build more resilient communities all over the world. Finalment, vull reconèixer la valuosa tasca que UN Habitat està fent aquí a Barcelona i la seva col·laboració intensa amb el col·legi. Thank you very much and please enjoy your stay in Barcelona. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and allow me to echo the welcome to all of you who are here for this event focusing on the National University of Singapore's Designing Resilience in Asia program. If you haven't had an opportunity to go through the submissions and winners from last year's competition, I strongly encourage you to take a look after this. I just have a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about in relation to the role of academia in fostering resilience in cities and communities around the world, breaking down some barriers, some of the inertia that's in the professional fields that are or have to be involved in this process, and understanding the concepts of transdisciplinarity. To start, I'll reiterate what I spoke about earlier today for those of you who were there, but the fact is that all human settlements are systems. They prosper, succeed, develop systemically, and they fail systemically. They do not fail sectorally. A tsunami in Asia doesn't only knock down housing and communities. It destroys economies, it destroys the functions of human settlements, it destroys certainly the physical environment, it certainly destroys or damages human life, and it disrupts the organizational structures. And these are the elements of a system that all human settlements are composed of. And if we understand that, then we understand that these elements are all interconnected, interdependent, we have to consider the fact that a response to weaknesses in the resilience of an urban system demand an integrated, multidisciplinary response. And understanding that a multidisciplinary approach has to work on the principle of subsidiarity, complementarity, and transdisciplinarity. Otherwise, it doesn't work. I see in the last 30 years very, very asymmetric investment in certain cities, cities that are driven by real estate agendas, or cities that are driven by other economic or even social means, and other parts of the city are left weak or weaker, and you don't see a kind of a symmetric approach to addressing issues related to risk and resilience. And nowhere is this more true, and I will not use architects as an example. I am a structural engineer by training, and I was just saying to Dr. Heng a few minutes ago that in my work, very quickly I understood that the knowledge that I gained learning and practicing as a structural engineer in Canada for many years comprises about that much of a very, very large environment within which we work. And the demand on my knowledge, the demand on the knowledge of my team members, the demand coming from city governments in addressing risk reduction and building resilience is that we really all need to work together. Architects need to start working together with planners. Planners need to start working together with engineers. I know that there are language issues there, but we all have to do this. All three of them need to start working with social anthropologists, with medical professions, with civil protection and military in certain situations. That the ability to have that conversation across disciplines is an essential requirement of driving resilience in cities around the world. And because of that, we've begun this discussion and dialogue with academia, initially with RMIT, but also with universities here in Barcelona and elsewhere around the world. And recognizing that even within academia, it's a challenge to cross disciplines, to merge disciplines in structured learning programs. But it's not impossible. It's not impossible. Some universities are starting to open up graduate and postgraduate studies that are interdisciplinary. The Designing Resilience in Asia is a competition that demands an interdisciplinary approach. And you'll see, if you look at the submissions from last year, the expressions of that. And if I leave you with nothing else today, this is the one message I'd like you to take away from this conversation. The fact that we are all professionals in one discipline or another doesn't mean that we are fixed in the boxes that we learn to be fixed in. We can be open to learn in a structured scenario, such as a university, but we can also be open to learn in a situation where we gather together with other professionals to work in support of cities' agendas to become more resilient in the future. The city of Barcelona has taken a very strong step towards this by creating its resilience board. You heard, many of you perhaps heard Manuel Valdez speak about that earlier today, and you heard from the deputy mayor her commitment to maintain this kind of platform within the city. This is a model for other cities to take note of, and in my view, it's a model for academia and professional associations like COAC to also contemplate and consider in the future. Thanks.
Good evening. I was told that in Catalan you say bona nuit. Well, thank you for inviting us to share an exhibition on designing resilience in Asia with you. Perhaps some background about this competition and exhibition. For the background, I must bring you back to 2010, actually. And that was 6 years ago when we started another series of competition and symposium that's called Vertical Cities Asia. So if you remember, very recently we crossed the 50% mark of the world's population living in cities. But the way Asia is urbanizing so rapidly needs a kind of paradigm that is far more compact than we see in a lot of American cities or Australian cities. Europe is fine. Europe has compact cities. But we're looking at the way some of these cities in Asia were urbanizing, and we say, we work together with our sponsor then, was thinking, he was a big developer, thinking along the same lines. How should we build cities that are far more dense and compact? And so we came up with this structure and say that let's set up a competition and symposium, get together a group of 10 universities, sign a MOU for 5 years, and we're lucky enough to secure funding for 5 years to look at designing 100,000 people in 1 square kilometer. That's a lot. But it's a hypothetical kind of situation. 100,000 people in 1 square kilometer with 3 or 4 square kilometers of green around it. Is it possible? Yes, of course it's possible. We look at Hong Kong, it's 150,000 people per square kilometer in Mongkok. In Singapore, in certain areas, the average is 40,000, 45,000 people per square kilometer, but there's one particular area, Pinnacle at Duxton, where if you actually multiply that particular typology, you get 300,000 per square kilometer. So we're saying, let's do it. And for 5 years, these 10 universities, 5 from Asia, 2 from Europe, and 3 from US, worked together. Every year we came together. And at the end of the competition, we came up with a book, a publication, that encapsulates the competition entries as well as knowledge generated through the symposium. While that was going quite well, smoothly, there was this terrible hurricane that hit Takloma in the Philippines in 2013, November 3rd. And by the time the hurricane subsided and things were more or less calm in I think middle of November, some 7,000 over people were gone, basically died from that event. 300 kilometers an hour wind. And that sort of set us thinking, should architects be doing more than just doing, architecture and for, I think, the last 2 decades, a lot of it iconic architecture. Should we be looking at more pertinent issues that are confronting us today? And so we went out, we said, together with a group of colleagues, we said, let's work on this very important topic of designing resilience in our communities. But we were also thinking, should we do it before the event, the extreme weather event, or after? And after a lot of discussions, we decided that we should do it before. In fact, I think before is more important. Preventing a disaster from happening is probably more important than, of course, the other one, picking up the pieces and getting back to business is also important. But after our discussion, we chose to look at before the incident and how we should design for resilience. And of course, architects can't do it alone. We said it has to be multidisciplinary. And based on the same format as the Vertical Cities Asia, in fact, you can just key in www.Vertical Cities Asia, you get the whole website on all the previous years of competition. We adopt the same strategy. We call up 5 other Asian schools. And these schools, these universities are located in countries that are often besieged by extreme weather events. So you have Indonesia, you have India, Bangladesh, of course, China, Taiwan, and of course Singapore. We're a little bit luckier. We are sort of surrounded by all these islands that protect us. Then we also included 4 other universities, one in US, and he will tell you all the universities later. One in Canada, one in Germany, and one in Australia. Some of these universities have worked over the years on the issue of building resilience. So we signed an MOU. This time around, we went out to look for funding. We managed to get 2 years of funding. So what you see here is the first installment, the first year. And we told ourselves that if we do it well, because it's such an important subject, such an important challenge that we should address, we should be able to get funding for the subsequent years. What we plan is have 2 years first, and in the meantime, we'll look for funding to support maybe 3 more years so that we have a 5-year cycle, and we will generate a lot of knowledge. And more importantly, make our students aware that there are very important issues confronting especially the world today, but especially Asia, because Asia really stands at the forefront of all these extreme climate kind of disasters. And also because Asian cities, a lot of us are not prepared for it. We don't have the expertise, we don't have the organization, the means. So when a typhoon hits some of these cities, it's really disastrous. So on a more happy note, so we got these 10 universities together, and they're all very supportive, and we said, we give you 6 months, January to June. We don't care whether it's undergraduate, graduate. You work 6 months on it, 4 months on it. The purpose is really to get you thinking about this issue. And we started off with a site in China, in the island of Hainan Island, and a village. A real situation, a village that is every year, annual floods, both by the river as well as the sea. And we're lucky enough that the mayor, or the mayor, well actually the county administration gave us the site and advised us that the village was going to grow from 250 families to 320 families. And so how do we plan for this expansion while building resilience? So after 6 months, the universities got together, and you'll see the results of that competition in the exhibition. But what is also very encouraging is that through our partner school, South China University of Technology, we got to know these administrators, and they have invited us to also bring this exhibition to Hainan, so that the village, the county and the village could actually learn from some of these multidisciplinary solutions that were generated. So we're very thankful again for having this opportunity to bring this exhibition here to Barcelona and this Resilience Week. And so we're really amongst friends. Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, the Dean has already explained you a lot of details, but I will be very brief. I'm sure that you are quite hungry and there's some food outside. So, well, actually, let me just explain you a little bit what is this DRIA thing. The Designing Resilience in Asia, it's a program that, as Dean mentioned, started in 2014, because we started thinking in 2014. But the first event happened in 2015 when we had the first competition and the first symposium. So the event is always divided into these 2 different parts. We always have a symposium where several experts from the world with a lot of expertise and background in resilience issues, they come and they explain their own experiences, they explain their own projects, they explain their own knowledge. These experts, at the same time, they are the jury members of the competition, and the competition is something that, as the Dean mentioned, is something that the 10 universities from the rest of the world, 6 from Asia, 4 from Canada, University of Montreal, Louisiana University from the US, Darmstadt University from Germany, and RMIT, Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology from Australia. They come together with Taiwan, South China, Bangladesh, Buet, with CEPT, which is I'm forgetting about Bandung, yes, Bandung, ITB Bandung in Indonesia, and of course and US. So these 10 universities, we meet during these 2 days. Last year we met during these 2 days. We discuss about this topic, which is the resilience, and we have 3 winners, which you will be able to see out there. Actually, it was Darmstadt was the overall design winner, and then we have 2 more categories, which are the architectural scale and the urban design scale. So this year, last year, as Dean mentioned, it was in China, in a small village in Hainan. This coming year, in 2016, we are going to do it in the Philippines, in Metro Manila, in the city that is North Metro Manila, which is called Valenzuela. Pretty much similar event, which is flooding because of typhoons, but the consequence of flooding is slightly different, because in China it was because of the sea. The flooding was because of the sea. In this case, it's because of rivers and because of rain. So actually, the problem is slightly different, and the challenge for the students and the challenge for the universities is going to be quite different, because the site is very big. You will see it also outside. There's one panel that explains the site. So we hope that they will come. So this year we will have 22 proposals for this new site that we will also bring to Manila once we do the competition. We will also have experts coming from the different parts of the world. Actually, Dan Lewis will be joining us as one of the experts, and they will also participate in the symposium, and they will be part of the jury members. We will also have some workshops for the students where they will be able to discuss about the topics that they are interested about, resilience, of course, and after that we will have again a few winners. So, well, I think that basically the DRIA is a program that what we believe is that design and planning is a very, very powerful tool that can transform and that can really face the issue of resilience. That's why we think that it can be incorporated as a part of our programs in the architecture schools, but also, as Mr. Dan Lewis mentioned, also together with some other programs. In our case, in the NUS, we work together with the Department of Building, and we work together with industrial design, so that we can come up with some proposals that they incorporate not only the urban scale, the large scale, but also the small scale, the architecture scale. So this is pretty much what is the program about. We're going to have a new event this coming June, so you are all invited to come to Singapore and join us for the event. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, so just to close, I think, because it's late and I think it's a lot of social work to do, and also gastronomical and touristic, I must say. Just to say what the Dean was saying, we are very happy to host here at the Colegio the exhibition of the competition, of the academic competition of designing resilience in Asia, and also to work together with UN Habitat and to be partners of them and be partners of National University of Singapore and all this big bunch of universities that have been working together. And for us, it's a very interesting field to show to our professionals, to our colleagues, and also to our citizens. I mean, when the idea of bringing here the exhibition was said, the idea of putting this exhibition in the center of the city was very important for us. So we were lucky to have this opportunity. And also, we must say that we share the importance of the concept and of the discussion. So the relations between nature and man-made habitats are changing. We are growing a lot, maybe not so properly. And in the other hand, this concept of working together to being multidisciplinary and having the possibility of having a dialogue way of working, it's very important. So we appreciate very much the opportunity, and as we were discussing with the Dean in the board, we are going to have a Congress here on architecture and urban planning. For sure this will be an issue that will be considered in the next Congress. Thank you very much. I enjoy our city.